Welcome to day one of the Mindset Reset. Today, we start where every major transformation begins, not with action, not with tactics, not with hustle, but with identity. Before we do anything else in this journey, we have to talk about who you believe you are. Because everything you will ever change in your life, everything you will ever build, every level you will ever reach comes from one place: the identity you're operating with, the identity you're operating from. You can change your habits, you can change your routines, you can change your goals. But if you don't change the identity behind those actions, you'll always snap back to the version of yourself you've been living up as until now. And that's why most people start strong and then fall off. They're trying to use willpower to override a self image that hasn't been upgraded yet. This course begins with identity because identity is the foundation that everything else stands on. And I want to be straight with you. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you'll struggle. If you see yourself as someone who starts but doesn't finish, you'll repeat that pattern. If you see yourself as someone powerless, you'll behave like someone powerless. Identity is the filter every decision passes through. This is why incredible potential can sit dormant for years. It's not because you're not capable. It's because you've been identifying with a version of yourself that's too small for the future that you want. I live this. I know what it feels like to want more, but subconsciously identify as the old version of me, the guy who was overworked, underpaid, doing everything for everyone else, but never feeling like I was moving forward. I know what it feels like to have ambition, but not fully believe you deserve the next level. I know what it feels like to dream big, but think small. And for a long time, I didn't realize that the problem wasn't my effort. It wasn't my discipline. It wasn't my ability. It was my identity. I had not yet rewritten the story of who I believed myself to be. Identity is the internal script that governs your life. And here's something most people never learn: identity can be rewritten. It is not fixed, it is not permanent. It is something you can consciously design. And when you learn how to redesign your identity, your actions automatically shift. Your habits elevate, your decisions sharpen, your standards rise. Your entire life upgrades because now you're acting from the level of the identity you choose, not the one you inherited. Before we go deeper, let me ask you a simple question. Who are you right now? Not your name, not your job, not your circumstances. Who are you actually identifying as? Are you identifying as someone stuck, someone trying, someone tired, someone overwhelmed, someone waiting for life to change? Or are you identifying as someone capable, ready, powerful, and committed? Someone who follows through, someone who grows, someone who leads themselves, someone who takes control of their story. Because whichever identity you're living from, that's the identity running your life right now. Identity is the root, everything else is the fruit. If you've ever felt like you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, it's not because you're sabotaging yourself. It's because your identity is pulling you toward who you believe you are. The good news: belief can change. And when your beliefs change, everything else changes. So today, we're going to start the process of consciously stepping into a new identity, not a fake one, not a delusional one, but the identity that reflects the person you're becoming, the person who shows up for themselves, the person who takes action even when it's uncomfortable, the person who follows through, the person who no longer waits for permission, the person who no longer sees themselves as someone surviving, but someone building, someone creating, someone rising. And this is important. Identity is not created by affirmations alone. Identity is created through alignment. You become the person you consistently act like, even if those actions are small, even if they feel insignificant. Every decision you make casts a vote for the type of person you believe you are. And the more votes you cast for your future identity, the faster that identity becomes real. Let me give you an example. If you're trying to become someone disciplined, you don't need to overhaul your entire life in one day. You just need to make a disciplined decision today and tomorrow and the next day. Each action reinforces the identity, and soon the identity starts reinforcing the action. That's when transformation becomes automatic. This is why identity comes before action. When you shift who you believe you are, the actions that match that identity become natural. They become effortless. They become normal. And that's what we want for you in this course, not temporary hype, but permanent transformation. So let's start with a foundational truth. You are not who you used to be. You are who you decide to be today, right now, in this moment. Your past does not define you. Your circumstances do not define you. The opinions of others do not define you. The identity you choose defines you. And if you've never consciously chosen one before, that's okay. Most people don't. They simply live inside an identity created by the world, their family, their past, or their fears. But today, you take that power back. So I want to ask you something that's going to come up again and again in this journey. Who are you becoming? Not what do you want? Not what are your goals? Not what are you trying to achieve? The real question is, who is the version of you who already has those things? How do they think? How do they speak? How do they act? What do they tolerate? What do they avoid? What do they commit to? What do they believe? This is where we begin, by creating clarity around the identity of the person you're stepping into. Because without clarity, you fall back into old patterns. But with clarity, you start acting like the future version of yourself now, and that accelerates everything. Now, I want you to reflect on this for a moment. If you lived as the highest version of yourself today, what would be different? What would you stop doing? What would you start doing? What would you stop believing? What would you start believing? What standards would you raise? What excuses would you retire? What fears would you stop negotiating with? What dreams would you stop postponing? Identity shapes your answers to all these questions. Every transformation has a starting line. This is yours. Today, you stop identifying with the version of you that was just trying to get by. Today, you stop identifying with the version of you who questioned their potential. Today, you stop identifying with the version of you who played small, dimmed their light, and put their dreams on hold. Today, you make a decision. You are becoming someone new. This course is not about adding more pressure, it's about relieving it. It's about helping you realize you've always had the potential inside you. You just needed permission to step into a higher identity, a wiser identity, a stronger identity, a more aligned identity. And now that permission is here. So let today be the moment you draw a line in the sand. You can't enter day two still identifying as the old you. That version served a purpose, but that version is done. You're stepping into a new chapter, a new mindset, a new identity. And throughout these 30 days, you're going to see how powerful you truly are when you begin operating from the identity of someone who is ready to elevate their entire life. Before we close out day one, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. These questions are simple, but don't underestimate them. They are going to set the foundation for everything we do. The first question, who have you been identifying as until today? Be honest. Be real. Don't sugarcoat it. What patterns have been running you? What beliefs have been defining you? What story have you been living inside of? The second question, who do I choose to become now? Not someday, not when things calm down, not when life gets easier, right now. Who is the identity you're stepping into starting today? And the third question, what is one action I can take today that aligns with my new identity? Not a big action, not a dramatic action, just one aligned action that casts a vote for the person you're becoming. Remember this, identity is not found, it is created. And today marks the beginning of the identity that will carry you to the next level of your life. I'm proud of you for being here. I'm proud of you for choosing growth. I'm proud of you for choosing to rise. This is only day one, and already you're stepping into a more powerful version of yourself. Let's build this identity together. I'll see you in day two.